What is Ron Paul's position on minimum wage? Someone wants to know.
There should be no federal minimum wage because most economists will agree that when you increase the minimum wage, you hurt the people that it's intended to help. It just doesn't work.
If a Republican is elected, will he or she increase or decrease the military? Will they support the benefits to the retired service people?
Oh, gosh.
Democrats have really criticized Republicans for not supporting the troops as well.
Oh, but they put things in there that make you not want to vote for it. McCain, proven record that he was complaining from the very beginning when it wasn't popular that we're not taking care of our troops, we're not taking care of their families, and we're not taking care of our veterans. And so he would definitely support an increase in the benefits to take care of them after they sacrificed so much for our country.
Certainly. I agree with Kim's comments here, and I think the Giuliani camp is the same as the McCain camp on this particular issue. The United States military needs to be completely and fully supported. Again, speaking as an Army Reservist myself, the worst situation you want to wind up is get mobilized, sent over to a foreign country, and then see the rug pulled out from underneath you. Rudy Giuliani has made it very clear he will never do that to his troops while they're in the field in combat.
Benefits? Increasing benefits for military guys?
Dr. Paul, as a former U.S. Air Force flight surgeon, he has long in the House made sure that the federal government is supporting the military in terms of active duty as well as when they get out, and veterans associations in his district always give him high regard. He doesn't talk about it much, but legislatively in his votes, that's what he does.
Says Doug in Waialua, it's always entertaining to hear a politician say that government is bad. Then why do we elect them? Second, my grandmother's Social Security checks arrive on time and the correct amount every month, and her Medicare has been a great benefit and is also well run. Proof that the government can work. Oh, yeah?
No comments on that one. Yeah. We're running the change government because we believe there's a lot of problems. So,
has that caller ever interacted with the Honolulu City government? No,
I think Medicare and Social Security, I believe, have something to do with the federal.
Waialua. Maybe things are better over in Maui. I don't know.
But what about that? I mean, it's a reasonable argument, isn't it? I mean, I was rather shocked when you said no, we wouldn't do the national, the highway system. That shouldn't have been done. Well, Medicare, Social Security.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that government doesn't produce anything. Government takes from one group and gives it to another. If you live in Washington very long, you'll see just how bad government can be. And sure, there's some examples that he's talking about. But when you take a look at how much money the federal government takes away from us, the bureaucrats get their 30 or 40% cut, and then they start distributing it around the country. The regulations, try to be a small businessman anywhere in the country, have to deal with their state governments, OSHA, the EPA, and the list goes on. The now Sarbanes-Oxley, the full, you might call it the Full Employment Act for CPAs, regulations, and the Department of Agriculture, and you go on and on. And of course, when you deal with the post office at times, of course, that's kind of a quasi-government agency. Government doesn't make things better.
Any thoughts on that? Well, Medicare, Social Security?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, Medicare, Social Security, yes, there are programs that can work for individuals. I'll acknowledge that. I mean, the Giuliani campaign isn't saying let's get rid of government entirely. But on the other hand, I think you look at Social Security, is it going to be solvent? Is it going to be solvent for my children when they return to Social Security, when they come time for them to collect Social Security? Medicare, also one of the big drivers, the whole entitlement framework at the federal government, running huge budget deficits. Is that working? Is that good for our nation? I think a lot of these things need to be reformed and fixed. And I think any time you launch a huge government project, you got to be very, very careful about the side effects.
I think both political parties agree something's got to be done with those entitlement programs. Any thoughts?
Well, McCain has made it very clear that we have increased our entitlements where we can't afford them. And he's very concerned that we're not even looking back into many of the different entitlement programs, not just Social Security and Medicare, but even smaller ones, that we've created an America in a very large population that can't take care of themselves without government, and that's what he doesn't like about government.
Well, appreciate very much your coming. Obviously, this Republican thing is very, very fluid, the way these polls are going. It's going up and down, backward and forward. People have asked why Mike Huckabee wasn't here, why Duncan Hunter is here. They haven't got any organizations in Hawaii. We would have been glad to have them. Mahalo to all of you for being with us. Kent, Kimberly, and Charles. It was good fun. We'll be taking the week off between Christmas and New Year's at Island Insights, so we won't have a live show next week. However, we will bring you the highlights of 2 recent shows on sustainability. It's a buzzword you're going to keep hearing in 2008, so we'll bring you up to date on the state's 2050 plan and introduce you to some young people with fresh ideas for a sustainable future. Once again, we'll be live and ready to take your questions. Before we leave, a brief note. John Griffin, a fine journalist, a gentleman, a very good man, and was a friend of this station. He died this past week, and he will be missed. I'm Dan Boylan. Mahalo for joining us, and I'll see you next time on Island Insights. Ahui ho.
The Honolulu Star Bulletin, Hawaii's oldest daily newspaper, recording historic events and